Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot. We're now going to discuss this Syrian fallout. Well, 3 days back, I did put out a video on the implications of what's happening in Syria. And, well, those implications, everything, things have gone beyond that. So that's why I thought quickly, I said, let me bring everyone up to date because this is going to be very interesting for the whole world. Um, People don't realize it, but Syria, I think, has already shaken up the global order, whatever has happened here. And as I see it, more things will follow. And here we go. Okay, that's what I said. I did this video on implications of the fall of Syria. This video is referenced in the description of this video, which I'm now doing. So have a look at it, because then if you see both these videos, especially for those who are seeing it for the first time, you'll get a clear idea as to the whole story where it is going. Okay, next. Right, this is what Kissinger once said: Arabs cannot make war without Egypt, and but they cannot make peace without Syria. So Syria is that important. And I agree with him. So Arabs can't make peace without Syria. And Syria is not at peace. So Arabs won't be at peace. The complete Arabs won't be at peace. And if Arabs are not at peace, with the way we are all interconnected, a whole lot of us will not be at peace. That's how I see things happening. Okay, this is a view from Pakistan. He says major strategic gain is for US, Israel, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. Major setback for Russia, Iran, and Palestine. I've added China in it. In my opinion, China is also down. And this is by Ashraf Jahangir Qazi, day before yesterday in Dawn. I agree with him largely, except for the fact that China is the way I look at it. And if you read the article he's written in Dawn, it makes a lot of sense. This was the first place where he got posted when he was a foreign service officer. So he knows the place well. You know, when you go to your first place of posting, you never forget it. And same is the case with him. This is a view from Russia. Incidentally, very interesting. It says Peter the Great was the last Russian leader to be defeated by the Turks in battle. Vladimir Putin is the first leader to be defeated by the Turks without firing a shot at the Turks. So you can imagine the feelings within Russia. A friend of mine from Russia sent this to me. Okay, so we know this. Everyone is shooting at each other in Syria, and my own guess is it's going to continue. Right. But let me go back. The fallout. After all, we're talking of the fallout. What are the outcomes of the Arab Springs? Where did they land? And from there, you get to connect to what's happening in Israel. You know, when Egypt and Tunisia, after the Arab Spring, went into some kind of a democracy, it didn't work, and then strongmen came back. Okay. In terms of when you talk of Libya and Yemen, they went into a civil war after the Arab Spring and now not recovered from there. They're still in the civil war status. Iraq, Arab Spring, chaos followed, and there was regime change. These are all facts. These are the outcomes of the Arab Spring. In Syria, will it differ? That's the question. And it's a delayed reaction. After all, the whole story of Syria as it is today starts with the Arab Spring, when Assad massacred the demonstrators, used chemical weapons against them. ISIS came back, tortured history. So how will it be different? So is it the rule by a strong man, or is it civil war, which will continue? We'll see. Okay, let me hark back to Hamas. They started Al-Aqsa flood You remember last year, October 7th. As time went by, Hezbollah came in, showed its might. Iran came in. Syria came into the deal. And the Houthis also came into the deal. All have got caught in the flood and got washed away. We'll see where they are. Hezbollah is completely broken. Right? And I keep saying in the past 3 episodes, Syria is the centerpiece of this whole story and how true it's coming out. Okay, what's the status today of Syria? Everyone says HTS has come, some government, all that. But let's see the actual status. Have a look at this map. Because when you look at the map, you come to know what's the actual status. HTS is in this gray portion. That is from Idlib, this is Idlib, to Aleppo, to Homs, down to Damascus. This is the area which HTS controls. It's not a thing that HTS controls the whole country. Okay. This yellow part is controlled by Turkey. The Syrian National Army, which is completely backed by Turkey. Okay. Then this violet part is all Kurdistan type. It's the Syrian Democratic Force. They're all of Kurds backed by US. And as we speak, there's fighting going on in this area between the two. So nothing is peaceful there. Okay. And then there are others which are in the fray. As of now, there's fighting going on in the north. Turkey is doing some action. Israel is doing some action severely, and we'll talk of it a little later. And so is USA. There's no peace out there, except that HTS has got the swath of land. So the potential for a resolution at this point of time are, well, questionable at best. How will they all come together? What political dispensation and etc. We'll just see. Okay, we'll talk of each one of them. Let's talk of Syria. The first question: will it radicalize? Will it become Islamist? HTS is an Islamist organization. HTS has been ruling Idlib to the north with Sharia. So will it impose Sharia in the rest of Syria? We don't know. Let's see. So this is how the fallout goes. The chances are high. It will remain a divided country. HTS versus Turkic groups versus Kurds versus minority militias. Everyone is armed there. Right? Kurds versus Turkic-backed militias, like I showed in the map, they're already fighting. What is the role of Israel, Turkey, and USA, the victors of this war? They all want their spoils. It will be foolish of us to think that, USA will not this thing. Though Mr. Trump has said, I have nothing to do with it, get out of this. But we'll see as we go along whether he can do it or not. What is the future of the Russian and Iranian bases? Iranian bases, I think, got wiped out. Russian bases. I'll talk of that again. Very interesting things. What's going to happen? Okay. As of now, Mohammad al-Bashir, who's affiliated with HTS, he is assumed as caretaker prime minister of a transitional government. But that transitional government runs very, like I told you, only in one swathe. There's going to be influence of foreign powers. Already, things have started. It's not only Turkey, USA, and Israel. Saudi, Jordan, Qatar. They've all started their games. Even EU has started its games in some manner. Then there's a major issue of refugees and displaced persons. A whole lot of people were thrown out and displaced within Syria. They will all now seek to get back. So is a humanitarian crisis looming? What happens to the huge chemical weapons arsenal which Bashar had? Isra- uh, Israel is sorting a lot of it out, but can it sort out everything? Mind you, this is the only country which has used chemical weapons after the Iran-Iraq war. No other country has used, at least officially. Then people have started talking of war crimes. And war crimes is always a iffy thing. It could all be kangaroo courts, X, Y, Z. So overall, Syria is still wildly unstable and it will continue to be so. If we think peace has come to Syria, I don't think so. No question. We're going to have a lot of activity in this area for a long time to come. We're going to have more violence here. So if Arab world wants peace, they have to look at Syria. And Syria is now not at peace. It will not be at peace. So you will see more action. Okay. Let's look at Iran. What's the fallout on Iran? Very clearly, the Shia crescent is broken. The crescent which ran from Iran to Iraq to Syria to Lebanon and Iran to Houthis is broken. Maybe that Houthi link is still there because that comes through the sea. As an extension to Gaza and Hamas, that's also broken. The Iranian embassy in Damascus was vandalized. Not much has come out of it, but it has happened. So Iran is out of the game in Syria. It's completely lost its proxies, histories, Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollah. And more importantly, Hezbollah. Hezbollah was the strongest of the proxies. It was supposed to have 130,000 rockets, X, Y, Z. Their leadership is finished. A lot of their rockets must have been finished off by Israel by now. And second rung, third rung cadres have been hit by those bombs, if you remember, pager bombs. It's in no position. And in a very, very, very roundabout manner, Israel has gone to town by saying, because we sorted out Hezbollah, because we sorted out Hamas, because we sorted out Iran, HTS has come in. Okay. What are the options with Iran? Will it negotiate with Trump? Because Iran is weak. It's lost a lot of its power projection capability. It can't project power. It doesn't have an air force to project power. And like everyone was saying, oh, with rocket force, they will be able to do everything. Rocket force come proxies. Proxies are gone. And Iran doesn't have great defense. So if this is gone, their relationship with Saudi Arabia will be back to square one because Saudi Arabia, smells blood. It's there. We'll talk of it. Okay. And where does that leave China? We'll talk of that also. So will Iran negotiate with Trump because their president is a bit of a moderate guy? Though Al Khamenei today has come out and said, no, yeah, whoa, all that nonsense. Iran will rise and will sort out. He's spoken. He's spoken for an hour. And he's spoken for an hour in front of his cadres. A lot of long live Iran and death to invaders kind of a story which is happening there. But the danger, will Iran now hasten its nuclear weapons program? Will Iran nuclearize? Because Iran is sort of pushed to a wall. If you remember, I spoke of Iranian nuclear weapons in a program with Syria. I had mentioned at that point of time, Iran is about 6 to 8 months away from a nuclear weapon. Will it now go there? That's the danger. Can it swing to Russia or China now? Question mark. Whom will it swing to? Russia has got its own problems. We'll talk of Russia. Is there a domino effect and a chance of an internal uprising in Iran? On the cards? Don't rule it out. Because these uprisings might take time, but they do happen. If you see the complete crescent, Syria, Iraq, Egypt, Tunisia, all these have gone through. So Iran is at the tail end. And if we'll talk at the end. If something happens to Iran, what's next? Good old Pakistan. So there are issues. And we'll talk of Pakistan today towards the end of this talk. Pipeline geopolitics. There's a Iraq, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Syria. This is the red one. Okay. This red line. This was to be the pipeline which took oil to Europe, backed by Russia. They won't allow it to go to Turkey. There's one, Qatar. As per Qatar, it wants to go this way to Europe. All to Europe, because Europe is energy deficient. Now, what will happen to these pipelines? Obviously, this red pipeline is out of the equation. Turkey will say, come back through Turkey. Because Turkey provides the one singular connect between Asia and Europe. This is the one over the Bosphorus or the Dardanelles Strait. But Saudis will not be happy with it. They'll say, go to Syria, ensure that the government in Syria is with them, and go through Tartus or one of those ports directly to Greece and on to Greece, Italy, that route. Yeah. It'll be a compromise. It'll come like this and go like this. So there's going to be a change here. So this will play out. Already moves are afoot for this. Okay, let's talk of Russia. Russia is facing the Afghanistan moment. Whatever happened to USA 3 years back is happening to Russia today. You don't understand. It's just not having two bases out there. Russia was a major player here. Through this basis, arms sales of Russia was going to this entire region and to Africa. So the future of these bases is a big question mark. So Russian influence is a question mark. Though they say that there is some deal being struck so that Russia will retain its base. If Russia has to retain its base, USA will have to say okay. If USA has to say okay, it will extract real leverages in Ukraine. There's a domino effect. Okay, so the future of Russian bases, the way it evolves, will tell us how this whole story is going to go, not only here, but in Ukraine. Okay. Russia was using these two bases, the Kemim air base and the Tartus naval base, as a regional logistic hub. All their logistics used to go from here. They were doing phosphate mining here. Syria had the biggest, reserves of phosphates. So they were doing phosphate mining, very important for the fertilizers. And then taking it back, either selling it or using it agriculture, the whole works. And they were getting it almost at no cost in Syria. They lost it. So Russia, which was already in a certain amount of economic problem, is going to get hit. I did mention in one of my podcasts that the Russian, the Moscow bank, or whichever that bank was, the central banker had said that we are in trouble. West Asian influence gone or almost nil. Next question. Will all this affect its pact with China, and will it survive Trump once Trump comes into the deal? Russia enabled China to get into Syria. It was a Russian this thing that China came in and got a leg in with Assad. Now that's gone. And there are going to be many secondary effects. We'll talk of China separately. What will be the effect on Ukraine war? And there's a lot of criticism against Putin in Russia. Right? There is this thing, why did Russia have to go out and establish a base there? So this base will now be surrounded by Islamists. So there are issues for Russia. Russia has a lot to think. I think in terms of losses, Iran lost the most, followed by Russia. China, it's out in the cold. Chinese analysts think that the new regime, whatever comes there, will be unfavorable to them. They know that. But Chinese being Chinese will eye reconstruction deals. And if there's a vacuum left by Trump, they'll fill it. In fact, if Trump pulls out of USA out of this region, Russia doesn't have that kind of leverage anymore, then China will get in. That vacuum, power vacuum, no one likes. But there's a problem with China. They are worried about a spillover into Xinjiang. There's a lot of Uyghurs who are thrown out of Xinjiang, who are fighting in Afghanistan, and who have a lot of them have gone into this area. These chaps are now fighting with SNA, with HTS, and SDF. All these fellows are now hardened fighters. What if they go back to Xinjiang? So Russia will have to rethink its strategy. And that's one of the reasons why China has not invested too much into Afghanistan. They're worried. Okay. And even if they come in and do reconstruction, all this nonsense, who'll pay them? How will they take the oil out from here? A lot of questions for China. And their complete deals with Middle East are in jeopardy. If Saudi Arabia knows its beans, it has to be with USA by now. And if it has to be with USA, USA will say, out China. So the equations are falling in place. That's why I said, whatever has happened here is going to change the global order. It's now very clear who's the one who's calling the shots? USA. Russia is on the back foot. China is not in the game. And as it is, we know China is suffering in economy. If its influence also wanes, then it is in real problem. USA. USA has tremendous stakes in this area, notwithstanding whatever Mr. Trump has said. It has interests. it has to continue its action against Islamic State. It is doing so. And Islamic State is still active. It is not only active here, it is active in Afghanistan also. ISK there. Even Al Qaeda is active here. So if they leave this place, then the next stop is back to Twin Towers. So they will they leave this vacuum? It's nice for Mr. Trump to say, but the moment he gets into chair, he will say I'm leaving, but he will also cover his bases. Incidentally, USA has got proper military presence in Iraq. It can't leave that place. There are proper bases. And there are approximately 800 to 1,000 troops in Syria itself, northeastern Syria. Now, how will they deal with Jolani? He's a, he's a designated terrorist. Depending on which way you look at him, depending on who, some people say he's a reformed terrorist, a blazer wearing terrorist. Some people say he's a proper Islamist. But one thing for sure, in Idlib, he ruled Idlib with a strong hand under Sharia. How much of a political role he'll play now, we'll see. It's okay to drive down to Damascus and take this thing. How will he continue? Will he play the USA's game? And USA will use anyone. I mean, let's be very clear. USA will use anyone to get its means. Now, what about Houthis? Yesterday, the Houthis attacked two naval ships of USA. My guess is Israel and USA will now get after Houthis and finish them off. You'll see that. And they will give a very clear warning to Iran, if you do anything, we're going to hit you. Because now Iran can't do anything. See, after all, we have to understand why is Iran weak. Iran is weak because their AD went down. Their AD was penetrated by Israel, and Israel told them, you try anything, we'll sort you out. Next. So this Houthis Iran is the next decimation. That's a fallout. Probably about 15 days back, you couldn't have thought of it. Now you can think of it. And all said and done, USA is on the top geopolitically. It's calling the shots, whether you like it or not. Everyone said declining USA, all this nonsense. They're narratives. You have people forget. I'm not for USA. Look, I'm not for USA at all. I'm for India. But you have to understand, when you do assessment, you have to be clear what the capabilities of that country are. It's not what one stupid Chinese chap says through disinformation. Oh, USA is declining. Oh, chala gaya. And four idiots in India also, from 3 idiots to 4 idiots in India also start talking like that. USA is a past master at this game. They have weathered setbacks. They have lost in Vietnam. They have lost in Middle East itself. We know that they have lost in Afghanistan. They still come back. They're very resilient. They'll not give up. You can call them hegemonistic, ableistic, worstic, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they're fundamentally there. And they're the strongest economy. Everyone thought that their economy has gone down, all that nonsense, all bunk. Their economy is doing better than everyone else. So, all those premature ideas which we had, and that's why I have always been saying, India has to take a call. Which is the biggest problem? Which is the bigger problem? Is it USA or China? And accordingly swing. Russia doesn't matter in this equation. We can handle Russia with China. We can handle Russia with USA. There's no problem. But we have to take a call between USA and China. And rightly, our governments have taken a call for USA against China because China is the biggest threat for us. USA is also a threat, but USA is someone whom we can handle. We have leverages against USA. Maybe some other day I'll talk about that. We will talk about Indo-US relations and how to handle it. I have my own views. Though others, I let them speak what they want on my channel. Okay, let's look at Israel. It's already occupied some parts of southern Syria. Look at this. It has occupied this area of southern Syria. And it has also, I believe, taken over Mount Hermon. From there, Damascus is an artillery range. And it's going after the chemical arsenal of Syria and all Syrian military capability. It's carried out about 350 raids, right? Navy, air bases, tanks, air defense, weapons, everything. Whatever it can hammer in Syria, it will finish off Syria's military capability. So that leaves Syria a defenseless country with just the militias operating. See what Israel is doing. There are no defenses for anyone who wants to invade Syria. They have to only contend with militias. So a conventional force can walk into uh, Syria hereafter and do what it wants, which means most of these militias will have to be kept at a low distance. That's what has happened now. And of course, it will very ruthlessly prevent Hezbollah or Hamas from reviving. Already it has made move towards Lebanon and they've got some force together. Now get them. Now Hezbollah will be in a problem because they don't know what to do. There will be some rocket attacks, should put some groups here and there, they will get sorted out. But all this, will it give a road to peace to Israel? I've written road to calm, but will it give them a road to peace or get some calm? Israel will not get peace because fundamentally they don't want peace. They want to exterminate Palestine. The two-state solution is anathema to them. So if the two-state solution is anathema to them, they'll not get peace. So all Israel can hope is for some peace, some calm. Maybe 5 years, 10 years hence, some of these groups will restart. They have a way of getting up again or in some other form, and they'll create problems. But at least for next 5-10 years, I don't visualize Israel suffering. And if Israel has helped HTS, it has, then it's done a damn good thing. But Israel's problem is what about hostages? There's still 100 odd hostages. There's some talk of some deal. Hamas also would have seen the writing on the wall. So some deal. And then what will be their long-term relationship with Islamic Syria? Right? What is that? That's the question. Okay, this is what I told you. They've already gone in. How far will they go in now is a question. Already Turkey has objected to this. We'll come off it. Let's talk about Turkey. Turkey is in pole position now. Like I said, it's a link to Europe and Asia, and it is leveraging that link. And if you go back in time, the Ottoman Empire was built around that link. It will have to live with its Kurdish problem. It will not go away. But it will be very ruthless against them now. Turkey has a problem of Syrian refugees. How will it handle? They'll push them back, whatever it is, we'll see. The Syrian National Army is its proxy, it will continue with it. And you're going to see a play between Turkey, Israel, and USA. They'll all be frenemies with each other. Friends when it chooses, enemy when it matters. And now Turkey will make a big bid for supremacy in the Muslim world, and Saudi Arabia will go against it because the Shia part of the Muslim world is weakened. It'll pitch for the IMEC to go through Turkey, which I showed those pipelines, and it had asked for the IMEC to go through Turkey. In fact, I remember last year when around G20 IMEC was when it was thought of. Erdogan came up and said any corridor in this area which leaves Turkey out won't survive. So it'll insist. Saudis will say no. So they might come back to Israel. Will the Abraham's Accord get revitalized? I think so. The only good thing for India is that IMEC will restart. But then Turkey will also control Russia because it controls the entrance to the Black Sea. We'll talk of it for 2 minutes. See, this is the entrance to the Black Sea, this place, the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles Strait. It's currently closed. No warship from any country can get in, including the Russian fleet. There's a Montreux Convention. That Montreux Convention gave control to Turkey. Okay, and Turkey activated it the moment Russia invaded Ukraine. It activated it, which means the Black Sea fleet of Russia is stuck there. It can't come out. Similarly, if Tartus base now closes in Syria, it can't go in through the Aegean, Dardanelles Strait, and Bosphorus and into the Black Sea. It will not upset the balance in Crimea or in Ukraine. So all these ships, everything has to go back all around to the Baltic north. So Turkey controls now Russia. Okay. So this gives Turkey a lot of power as it is. Now it will get enhanced. So if Russia wants to do something, it has to speak to Turkey. So Russia is cornered. Okay. And then, of course, today they've come out with this missive. Have a look at it in your own time. They very clearly said that they've objected to Israel doing what it is doing on the southern border. But can you stop it? No. Israel will do what it wants. Turkey is doing what it wants. USA will do what it wants. After all, Trump is even 40 days away or 30 days away. Yeah, 40 days. I thought 11th year. They're virtually 40 days away. 40 days बहुत है for a lot of things to be done by USA. Till then, after all, Biden is still the president. It's not so simple. And he's still calling the shots, no matter what Trump talks. And Trump might just get a piece of cake which he has to eat or throw, what is his choice. But I think overall, Mr. Trump won't be foolish to let this situation out of his grasp. And at least the people around him won't be foolish. What about Gulf countries? Now the Gulf countries, the Sunni majority, will get an influence in the Muslim world. Remember, at the end of the day, Syria is an Arab country. It's not a Turkish country. If you remember, Syria and Egypt wanted to make a united Arab, state. It's an Arab country. Then they'll, of course, fight for their pipelines, which will go to EU. They'll revive IMEC, which I said. They'll completely try and marginalize Turkey in that deal. This tussle will go on. So if you think there's going to be peace in Syria, just forget it. Okay. Syria will partner with the Gulf. That will be their all their stance complete. Now, Qatar is an important player. Qatar has got Al Jazeera. With Al Jazeera, it will play its information campaign. I'm sure it's on. And Qatar already had certain equities in Syria. Because if you remember, one program I did with General Dushan Singh, where I said Qatar is the Switzerland of this area. Everyone, it has got its hands in everyone's pockets, and everyone comes to Qatar. So Qatar has got that leverage. Now Qatar will swing with Saudis and get hold of its equation with Syria. And Qatar is back in business because Qatar has got the central command of USA. USA will not act directly. Qatar. Qatar is the big chess piece which is going to move on this board. And UAE will be part of all deals. So you're going to see this story happening. If you understand what I'm talking. So this is the fallout. And this is going to happen. Maybe now after 10-15 days again, I'll talk of this towards maybe the second half of this month. Unless something happens, then I'll get back. We need to let things happen. And this is what I can see till where we are. EU. Now, EU has the issue. What's the EU angle? What's the fallout in EU? Look, more than 1 million refugees have gone into EU from Syria and other places since 2015. That is the first time when Bashar al-Assad used chemical weapons. So that has got a far-right reaction in Europe. A whole lot of far-right governments have come in. A whole lot of them. Okay. Now, those far-right governments now will kick the Muslims out. It will happen. So there will be ethnic issues in Europe. That's a fallout. So those chaps, displaced people, will come back. Where will they go? Will they come back to Syria, or will the Palestinians go back to where can the Palestinians go? They have no place to go. Where will they return? So you will see a humanitarian problem of sorts in EU. But Europeans being Europeans, they will do what they have to do. So this turmoil which is going to happen, which just started, you will see something happening here, something happening there, something happening somewhere else. They're all got this Syrian connect. I mean, why do you think I'm spending so much time on Syria? Even before this thing, that first thing I did, the Syrian googly, hardly any people saw it. I would suggest you see it because that gives you the fundamentals. And I did it when the action started. I sensed something is going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of hustle bustle here. Ukraine is in the deal. They have sent drone operators to assist HTS to go against Russia. And 150 first-person view drones. So they're going to rub it in. They'll, and if Ukraine is in the deal with HTS, naturally USA and Israel won't be far behind. So the domino effect on Ukraine is very clear. On the Ukraine war, Ukraine will not hesitate one little bit to put Russia down. Russia is in a corner now. How it will wriggle out, we'll see. And the last, Pakistan. Again, this is from, Ashraf Jahangir Qazi's that article. Let me read it out, then only you'll understand. Pakistan is the largest country in the Muslim heartland and the least influential for reasons that are tragically obvious. The fall of the Alawi military dictatorship, however, shows that once a regime forfeits the support of the people, this is important. Once the regime forfeits the support of the people, the demise is only a matter of time. As David Hume once long ago observed, the force of an awakened people is far greater than anything the military can muster. And he's giving this message to Asim Munir. When will Pakistani people get alive to where they are? Just think for a minute. Socho. Just turn Pakistan and Afghanistan 90 degrees. And imagine Afghanistan to be Turkey and Pakistan to be Syria. And that northern area of that Kurds and Idlib and that portion to be the Durand line. Is there a similarity? Is there a time which will come when the people of Pakistan will go against its army? Whoever thought it will happen to Assad? And Pakistan doesn't have the luxury of a friendly India. You will say, oh, Pakistan is a nuclear state. Well, Syria had chemical weapons. That's also a weapon of mass destruction. What happened? Zero. So when the people suffer, things will change. And of course, Pakistan has other, examples like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Now they have to start looking very seriously at Syria also. And their condition is not good. Will it happen in Pakistan? I don't know. I don't know. And in fact, today I did a comparison of Afghanistan and Pakistan. Very interesting. I'll have a separate podcast on that. Right. I've done today. If you people have liked this, please press the like button. And those of you who, I'll be grateful if you subscribe to Ghana Shot and join me as a member. I'm already grateful to those who have joined me as members, but I would prefer if more of you join in. Right. Let me take some questions. I might not be able to take all questions, but at the outset, Janvi Sundaresan, thanks a lot for joining Ghana Shot as a member. Okay. Yeah. Is it true that Syria basically disbanded its army after the civil war? No, it didn't. It had an army that was reinforced by Hezbollah. What is the risk of Sunni rebels who have taken over Syria getting close to Golan Heights to start a mess with Israel? They don't have the strength to do so. All these rebels won't have the strength to handle Israeli army. A sensible Paki, that too reckoned by a military general, a rare phenomenon. Yeah, it's not. Look, you have to understand, there are a lot of people in Pakistan who are sensible. And incidentally, Ashraf Jahangir Qazi is a complete cutter Pakistani anti-India. But that doesn't mean we don't recognize the value of what they're talking. John Doe, I have to answer your question. Will an Islamic state in Syria threaten Jordan and by extension the moderate Gulf states? Yes. That's one of the things I said in the last episode of mine, talking of Jordan. An Islamic state in Syria will upset Jordan. Of course, it goes to Kuwait, Bahrain, all these countries. And it will put pressure on Saudi Arabia also. So, Saudi Arabia will now come into the forefront to control that Islamic state. Because no one else can. That's why I said this is not going to be an easy ending. This is whatever happens here. It's like a whirlpool. It will go all over. Despite there being 57 Islamic nations in the world, why do these refugees end up in UK, Europe, and US? Why doesn't the Ummah absorb and house their brethren? Ummah exists only. No, yeah, what I'm saying is right, Shritik, but the problem is with them in their areas. Where will they go? And incidentally, no country in the Muslim world will accept people from the other country. There has been a successful regime change in Syria with minimal bloodletting. Apparently, the Russians have still control over the port and territories. I told you, they don't have control. They might be allowed to live there. That's all. And if they have to, there has to be concessions. So far, they have not been evacuated. It's all open up for negotiation. Who would be the knight in this chaos? The knight in this chaos is Turkey. Turkey, right? Turkey is the one who's hopping. And to a lesser extent, the other knight is Israel. Will Turkey and USA square off against each other due to Turkish attack on that is to be seen? Turkey is not only aiming for Syria, control over Syria, it's controlling Russia, and it also wants to get into EU. उसका भी game अलग है. The real question is, do Iran's general have the stomach for a fight now that their proxies are all but vanquished? US also has lost its proxies too. The PKK will be mobbed up by attack. Pugleski, all this is thinking. You're thinking. As far as Iran is concerned, they will come out. At some point of time, they will recover. Okay, and US has not lost its proxies, so don't look too far ahead. I told you, fighting is going on, and Turkey is not as strong as you think it is. Yeah, if Iraq and Syria are so unstable, how will the pipeline be feasible? Isn't there always a chance of regime change and the new regime can destroy the pipeline or some? Yeah. These are all plans. I'm not saying that this will happen. These are the things which they'll vie for. The fallout is only on this. The whole story is pipeline fights. I remember someone saying this is all pipelineistan. तो ये तो सब कुछ होगा इसमें. Yeah, please ensure your members get advance intimation of your videos so they can watch it live. Look, it's like this. All members, please turn on your notifications. That's what Google tells me. I can only put it out. The moment I put it out, if you turn on all your notifications, that bell button and all notifications, then you'll get the notification. Otherwise, how will I get? How can I give you? Or you tell me how you want me to give, I'll give you. I have no problem. Other way is I have another option. All of you join me on WhatsApp group. On WhatsApp group, I've given the WhatsApp group number, everything in link in the description. Join the WhatsApp group also. I'll start posting whatever I'm going to do on the WhatsApp group. That's not a problem. Okay, I can do that. I can give advance information, but you also have to meet me 50%. I have no problem in doing it. I'm glad you come out with it because now I can tell you turn on all your notifications. But having said that, normally at 8 o'clock I'm there. An odd day it's at 7:30, depending on the guest and his, or it might be at 9. Every Friday with Mr. Shri Iyer on P Gurus, it's 9:30 at night. We were told that China is a rising superpower. It also looks helpless at the moment. America is truly a superpower. No one can compete it at this point. Yes. Geopolitically, if you see, China has got economic power. But like I said, it is declining. Does it have military power to project its military capability? No, it doesn't have. That we are very clear. Can it fight? It cannot fight. But what's coming ahead, we'll talk. I have a very interesting thing coming up in on Saturday with General Doshan. We'll talk what China will do now. I mean, it's not as if I'm only looking at this place. वहाँ भी है हमारा, वो भी करेंगे, right? So China will struggle, but it will not give up. To think that China will just sit down in a corner is being fallacious. Yeah, good evening, Kumar. How are you? Yeah, there is a message on. There is a chatter on message boards of Iraqis digging trenches and shoring up defenses because they somehow they know they are next. Yeah, possible, but then USA has got presence there, so they will get into the act. Is it? Nothing is ruled out. China and India both are dependent on import of oil for energy, and it makes them vulnerable. Why can't both sides keep their differences and work together on thorium tech for energy? We can't, Manoj. We can't because we can't trust China. As simple as that. Trust, I mean, we don't trust. I don't trust China. I've lived my entire life not trusting China. Some fools in India did trust China in between. They'll lie. They'll never live up to any bargain you have with them. So why should you develop thorium technology with them? So Israel strike on Iran is supposed to have put their nuclear program back by years. How does that go in the face of Iran's desire to go nuclear in days, weeks? No, I don't agree with your first statement. The nuclear program has not gone back by years. Sorry. What has gone down is the nuclear program has become vulnerable because uh, Iran air defense was put down by Israel. So it's opened out. Okay. And so they can go nuclear. But it's not going to happen overnight. Don't worry. Nothing will happen overnight. I'm giving you the fallout will take time. Yeah, after World War II, it was Russia and USA, erstwhile USSR, that sat on the high table to decide fate and destiny of the globe. China was nowhere near the table. What are the options now? I told you yesterday. Yesterday, the talk with General Brigadier Arun Sehgal. I showed you that picture. India, China, Russia, and USA. That's where the world is going. Yeah, USA doesn't have a real issue with China. A list about sanctions about mum. Remember that India GDP with USA is what 49 to 50% do when Trump submits Canada next China. All you're now kite flying, Sardo. Thanks a lot, Krishna, that my content is unparalleled. If you like this whole story, spread it to your friends. Why doesn't India lease a warm water port to Russia? Well, we're not interested in giving any of our facilities to anyone. We'll do it that way. India needs a pipeline from Pakistan. No, we don't need. What will be the impact and future roadmap for India? That's what we said yesterday. Pankaj, see what we discussed with Brigadier Arun Sehgal yesterday. I discussed this only because of this. Our problem is not here. Our problem is with China and Pakistan. If I put it, we have six issues which we have to attend. One, LAC, China. Two, China, Pakistan. Three, our neighbors. Four, IOR. Five, Western Arabian Sea. Okay. And six, nuclear deterrence. These are the six. I'm going to talk of General Dushan Singh. Turkey is occupying a much larger space in northern Syria and that too inhabited than Israel. Yes, Israel is not interested in occupying space because it cannot occupy space. It doesn't have the population to occupy space. Israel is controlling territory so that it can threaten Damascus. The moment it threatens Damascus and sits on Mount Hermon, all that roots, it will control Lebanon also. Turkey can keep sitting on the top. It will have more space, there's no problem. Would India send peacekeepers to Ukraine after peace talks? That we'll see. Israel is occupying the buffer zone agreed in 1974 with Assad. If Assad is no longer present, then the old agreement has lapsed. Also, Israel will not allow militants to get. That's what they're doing. They're going ahead. They crossed the buffer zone, as far as I know. Okay, if Pakistan fails, do we have a plan to capture the bordering areas and house refugees there? Because we can't have. Well, that's too far. We'll see. It is in Israel's interest to help the Sunni groups so they can go after remaining Iranian militias in Syria or Iraq. Look, everyone has a view on this, John, but I don't know how these chats will turn out. Remember, the Hamas is Sunni, and if there are Islamists there and Islamist or radical Sunni group takes over Syria, then they can still get to Hamas. So these are all at this point of time. Everything is up in the sky. We don't know which way the whole piggy will fall. Sir, Urdu speaking rebels are fighting in Syria. Any Pak mercenaries angle? Could be. There's no problem. There's no this thing. Okay, sir, Assad must go will be Putin and Z must go by Democrats when Kamala Harris returns in 2018, taking help of Sunak and Yogi. Oh, I think this is too far-fetched. As Pakistan will not change, only regime type will be swapped by other regime. Pakistan will remain a jihadi state. Okay. Uh, Thanks a lot, Nature, for becoming a member with us. So honored that you joined. Hi, Jayant. Namaskaram. How are you? Uh, can India invest militarily without boots against Turkey, Iran joining US? We shouldn't get involved there. Thank you, sir, for the great job being done by you and your team in educating the common people of India with respect to military's perspective to the rapidly evolving geopolitical situation in India. Oh, thank you. I don't have a team. I'm a man and a dog. In fact, I'm a man without a dog also. Earlier, I used to write. Now I come out with this because this is faster and easier for me to talk. Otherwise, I used to write articles quite a bit. Uh, why? Okay. Why is Netanyahu so happy about having Al Qaeda on his doorstep? No, Netanyahu is not happy. That's why he's doing whatever he's doing. Israel. 350 airstrikes is not a joke in a day. Okay, complete Iraqi Israeli Air Force is up in the skies. You see, that brings me to another problem. In that entire area, there's only one Air Force, Israeli Air Force. The rest are all gone now. So he's got complete control over the sky. So if Al Qaeda or someone who tries anything, he can sort them out. He's finished Syrian military completely out. Why is the Middle East so cursed? Well, that is a $1 million question. Middle East runs out of oil, but they have big desert and sun for solar power. They will continue to be global nuisance. Yeah, that's part of the IMEC. IMEC is all about hydrogen and solar and all that. So they will not go anywhere. We will continue to have Middle East and their problems. Yeah, congratulations, General. First to analyze the Syria. Oh, thanks a lot. I mean, you have to, if you are following geopolitics, you know trends when they happen. Will the current situation in Syria be one factor causing Putin to come to the negotiating table? Why, with whom? With the, if you're talking with the Ukraine, there will be leverages. Let's see how it plays out. I mean, it's too premature. It's too premature at this point of time. Let things happen. There's like a pressure cooker situation. Okay. Will incoming American president put brakes on Syrian land grabbing by Israel and Turkey? Let's see. So far, he said, I'll have nothing to do with it. If he has nothing to do with it, he'll encourage Israel to do what it wants. See, there is also a theory which is going around, which I've not spoken of, that eventually Syria will have four, pieces of land or five. One will be HTS controlled, one Turkey on the top, one Arabian to the northeast, and Kurdistan and Israel. So there may be five areas of control. Let's see how it goes. Mr. R, HTF has rebanded and have let go its previous ways. For example, beheading of prisoner, which is not the case. Let's see what. Again, everything is premature. Everything is premature. Can Bharat fill the gap left by Russian withdrawal from Syria? Why should we go there and get stuck? ये हमारा लड़ाई है ही नहीं. Why did Lakshan from South Africa, why did human rights lobby groups be quiet about Syrian prisons? Yeah, that's $1 million question. देखो, all these Kashmiris and all these fellows, when you did nothing to them, they started screaming human rights. Pakistanis and all these fellows. Where 6 lakhs people got butchered and they did nothing. So it is that psych. What do you do? When a Muslim kills a Muslim, it's all fine. When a non-Muslim touches a Muslim, it's all up in the sky. And they will do there were no demonstrations within the Muslim world. All demonstrations are in Europe or USA. That's another thing. They'll create more nuisance there. That is because these Europeans and those chaps are foolish to allow these chaps. Those liberal nations are foolish to allow all this nonsense to happen. Yeah, I finished. All questions done. So thanks a lot for listening patiently for what I've said. If you like this, please, spread it to all your friends. And, I'll request when I put tweets out, you can retweet it. All members, kindly put on your notification so that you get it. Because all members, every time I put a thing out, it comes out to me. All members will be notified. Those who have put their notifications on. Right? And okay. And tomorrow we're going to talk of something slightly different. We're going to talk of leadership and command in combat. And General Hasnain is going to talk tomorrow and what involves of being a leader in combat situations. I told you I'm going to do this series on leadership and combat and command and all. So tomorrow. Okay. So that's what it is. Till tomorrow evening. Good evening and Jai Hind. Have a great night.